We'll take a break and go play football on the lake by the beach.
I'm
Sure. Yeah.
Go smell like Kenobi.
Is that a fragrance yet? No. All right,
Kenobi.
no singing,
Kenobi.
guys, because we are live.
Anchorhead. Yeah.
Oh, Anchorhead. That would be a great Kenobi fragrance, I think.
Scum and villainy.
Scum and villainy. I
Yes.
drank at that bar.
Ooh. Oh, the one at the
It's in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills.
Oh wow. Okay.
It looks like Cantina. It's really cool. Look it up. Google it.
All right.
have the
I think I might have seen a
there?
picture that you posted of that on one of your adventures out there.
Yeah,
I'll,
cool.
have to try and get out there sometime.
Mhm.
But all right, so this is Obi-Watch Live. We are in fact a portion of Earth's Mightiest Critics. This time we're not talking and joined by a special Funko Pop Obi-Wan. I like that.
Hello there.
But we are Earth's Mightiest Critics. We're not talking about a comic book movie per se. This is there have been comics based on Star Wars, but we're talking about the latest Disney Plus Star Wars series called Obi-Wan Kenobi, which debuted today last night. They put it out early. And for those of us who are on the Disney press list, we got the link. They didn't send out any preview screeners, but they sent out the links like at the same time the show dropped, which gives you the choice of watching it, on your computer with a giant website watermark in the middle, or watch it in pristine HD on Disney Plus. So I love the options. But so all right, we've got 50 minutes approximately. Oh, I didn't pick that up. I got. Is it any good? The new comic, David?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, so there's a new Marvel Obi-Wan comic that came out this week, and tie-ins everywhere.
Yeah.
But we are going to talk about the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we're going to be talking spoilers because there's a lot to dig into. But we're going to keep this a relatively short show because at 9:30 p.m. And there's a link in the description below where some of us are going to be back talking about Top Gun Maverick. Oof. So we've definitely got the need for light speed tonight. So hopefully you can stick around for that. But let's get into it. I'm just going to go ahead and pop up the spoiler banner just in case we wander into the sand, as it were. But also, if you
behind it all.
Well, we got the banner up, so don't worry about it. But no, if anybody out there has any questions or comments or thoughts about the show, you want to engage with us, please just hop in the comments and let us know what you think. And we've got a late guest, Mark.
Hello.
Obi-Han.
Obi-Han?
Hello there.
Hello.
Welcome. Hey, Mark. I see your dress for the next episode already.
Just gets like
right.
Forgets his name. You were Obi-Wan. Obi-Han? What?
Wow. All right, we'll do a quick round of introductions. So I am Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. We have Don Shanahan of 25 Years Later and the Cinephile Hissy Fit podcast. And Every Movie Has a Lesson. David Fowley of Keeping It Real. Mike Crowley of You'll Probably Agree, a.k.a. YPA Reviews. And Obi-Ha himself, Mark the Movie Man Krawcheck of the Spoiler Room and Special Mark Productions. So with those intros out of the way, let's talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Don, why don't you lead us off with a quick synopsis of just kind of like generally where we are. It doesn't have to be a rundown of 1 and 2 because we're going to be talking about those. But what is Obi-Wan? Where are we in the Star Wars timeline? And what's going on with the show?
We are 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan is on the planet of Tatooine, trying to lay low, live a normal life, kind of disconnect with the Force a little bit, but more importantly, keep an eye on little Luke Skywalker being raised by his uncle and aunt Owen and Beru. While there, we also, and I didn't know this was going to happen in the previews, but we also get a little look at Alderaan and the life of Princess Leia as she becomes a little girl doing her thing and, being groomed into being the princess of Alderaan. At the same time, she is kidnapped to the point where the only person that Bail Organa can turn to is Obi-Wan Kenobi, who has been on radio silence for 10 years and is being twisted with his arm and his lightsaber to hop into the fray and maybe do something about it. All at the same time as there are Inquisitors out there hunting the remnants of the Jedi down, one of which we see is likely a former youngling played by Benny Safdie, right? So that's kind of where we're at. That's not. Where's the spoiler bars up here?
Okay, cool.
But
Mark,
that's where we are.
That was Dan Safdie? Huh.
Yeah.
That guy's a good actor. He surprises me a lot. He's like one of those few who can act and direct.
But that's where we are.
He should direct movies.
Yeah, he looks
Yeah.
good. He'd be
Maybe
good at
even
it.
Adam Sandler movies. You know?
Just saying.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, so let's just get our high-level thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Don, you did a lovely job of synopsizing. So what do you think?
I'm into it. Maybe there's I know this is tricky coming after Mandalorian and tricky coming after the Book of Boba Fett, although we can all agree on this panel, not that tricky to follow the Book of Boba Fett. But when you bring back a core character like this and you bring back that core actor, the word that comes to mind the most is gravitas. And can a show match that, carry that, bring that? And I think, and I'm there. I'm sure there's some mopey people who are like, "Oh my God, Obi-Wan's a coward now. He doesn't want to do anything. When's he gonna do stuff?" And I can understand that because of the way the character is portrayed, but I also kind of take a step back and go, all right, what does 10 years of living with defeat look like? What does 10 years of living with super duper loss look like? And I feel like that would be a guy.
David gives up.
Yep. Yep. He's gonna go. He's going to what's the island? He's going to the island that Luke's at. He'll come back with a beard. And
Yeah, he'll go to Ireland or
go to Ireland. Yeah. But no, I enjoyed this take of the character. I feel like there's growth to be had there to kind of bring him back to a heroic side of things. But if he starts here in a disillusioned place of loss, I'm very okay with that because we saw what losing did to Luke over 30 years. Take a sample of that to Obi-Wan for 10 years. I'm not saying Rian Johnson's the most perfect person to present that. I know we've all had those differences here in the room, but I don't mind grumpy old Luke. And if we can get grumpy old Obi-Wan for a hot second, I'm okay with that.
All right, cool. Mike, toss it to you.
Whew, a breath of relief.
All right.
I was terrified going into this because after the Book of Boba Fett, which it seemed like they actively were trying to make that bad. It was so the opposite of what it was. I just kept thinking, oh God, how are they going to screw this up? Is it just going to be about a new character? Are they going to do what they did with Boba Fett and make it not about who they say it is? Luckily, that's not the case. Luckily, it's not just a bunch of action. For once, Star Wars breathes a little bit, takes its time. I never thought I'd be so happy and excited to see a sequence where a character gets up in the morning, goes to work, and then makes breakfast.
Like The Force Awakens?
Yeah, every film
Yeah,
where they're making the coffee or something, right?
Also, Mumblecore Star Wars, directed by,
like Ray.
Yeah, I want Mumblecore Star Wars. I want slow cinema Star Wars.
And we need to call for that. Chicago's
that. We had we just when we finally do meet Obi-Wan, he's just this guy cutting meat, and there's that one instance where the guy says, "Hey, you didn't pay me enough." He gets pushed, and Obi-Wan could do something, but he doesn't. And I wouldn't see the problem with Obi-Wan not fighting because he's seen the repercussions of what has happened. Although one thing that's seen a little off is Obi-Wan's done with the Force. He's sort of bitter like Luke, but then he tells Owen that one day Luke must be trained. And I'm kind of wondering what that motivation is. That seemed a little unclear.
One of about 25 inconsistencies with the first two episodes. So I'm glad we're starting off there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you liked it because I know you were kind of worried going in.
This was my litmus test to see if I was done with Star Wars forever. Yeah.
Oh, another sabbatical in the room here. Okay.
All right.
But
well,
luckily they pulled it off, and it was
good
holding
to on.
Take some time with the characters and not just do whiz bang action, which was kind of the second episode. It was kind of just generic rescue mission, but it was just Princess Leia, and it makes sense now how she knew Obi-Wan when she sent that message in The New Hope. Because she's like, I knew you, Obi-Wan, and we were friends. I'm like, when did this happen?
Well, no, she didn't. Mike, she never said that. That's the problem.
No, she never said
that. They kind of alluded to her
No. She said you
served
my father in the
you served with my father during the Clone Wars.
There's a
with my father during the Clone Wars. But how else would she know to reach out to this guy?
But there's a good chance he stays anonymous throughout this rescue mission, which we don't see finished. Like watch him not divulge who he is to her, and we keep that consistency.
Right,
Really.
but that also relies on once she gets back safely to Alderaan, no one else ever bringing up the fact that it was Obi-Wan Kenobi who had rescued
It's
her.
quite possible.
And then there's the problem. That would almost work with that theory if it wasn't for the one guy who helps him at the end of episode 2, who clearly calls him by his Jedi name in front of her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You're talking about Kumail Nanjiani's character.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Haja.
Haja. Yeah.
that's not racially insensitive
You
at all.
remember my name?
His name's Haja. Okay,
I know.
Yeah, Haji's a
Couldn't
little
call him
different.
Steve, could they? No. Okay.
Yeah, I would call the writers a little racially insensitive.
Yeah.
Just be like, just take out the I in the end and replace it with an A. There we go.
Call him
Oh, man.
Bob.
All right.
That works. And some other things.
That's the next show.
That's the next show.
Don't get our
Yeah.
genres
Sorry.
crossed.
Sorry.
All right, David, what did you think of Obi-Wan Kenobi?
The character of the show.
They are two very distinct things.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I was really glad to have Ewan return to this character. I mean, he just plays him so well. There's moments in this where there's that moment where he's kind of looking around, trying to figure out, how to go about tracking down the lost child, and he does this thing, with this beard, and it's
The beard stroking, yeah.
exactly what Alec Guinness did. And that's what and long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Ewan said, he's like, look, I want to do justice and honor to Alec Guinness in this role, and even in Phantom Menace, his inflections and everything, you could see that, and you could still see it here, and I love that about his portrayal. We're back on Tatooine. What am I gonna say?
I know.
Yeah, it was inevitable. We knew that. So I like the opening.
Are you talking about the preamble where you kind of
Yeah.
catch up on
Yeah,
like the previous the
it's
episodes
order
1, 2, 3?
The Order 66. Well, that was good. That was actually a nice little brief catch up. For those of you who don't know, why are you watching this?
Yeah, what are you living in a cave?
The Order 66. The Order 66 part with younglings was interesting because that was so brief in Revenge of the Sith, and
I like at the end of this particular week, my nice little bit of escapism. We open up with a classroom full of kids and the teacher dying trying to save them.
I could not help. I could not help but think of that, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, same here.
Yes. I didn't until you guys brought it up now.
Yeah,
Oh, you're welcome.
Live reaction down there. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Well, what's
Guys, let's
funny?
bring up a horrible national tragedy.
Well, what's funny is Netflix actually opened up their season 4 with a placard saying, we are acknowledging, what happened this week, and our hearts go out to this, because the first 8 minutes, which you could find online, of season 4 is pretty much like a slaughter of children. So
Wow.
there we go. Anyway, overall, kind of high level, I'm glad to be back with this character. I definitely have some questions. Yes, there's kind of some inconsistencies. I had no idea whatsoever. It was very surprising, and I kind of like it. This idea of Alderaan and Leia, cool. Let's see where this goes. The actress playing her is a bit too precocious.
Yeah, but
I think it's the writing. I think.
It could be the writing. Maybe they're trying too hard to make her. This is how this feisty leader became. Yeah. Anyway,
Feisty leaders have feisty childhoods. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, sure, but we can talk about
It's dialed to
Leia
12.
later.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think from Order 66, we go to 10 years later, and I can't help but thinking, I'm like, wait, where's that story? What happened in those 10 years? What was Kenobi doing in those 10 years?
Not watching the intergalactic news, apparently, according to what we learned at the very end of episode 2.
Yeah,
The head scratcher to end all head scratchers. Wait a second, Darth Vader's alive?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys this: I know he was busy after he left Anakin in the Ember pile there on Mustafar. Did he
turn him into a bucket of chicken?
Did he realize that he was still alive and he turned into Vader?
Well, he
Because
knew
he was
that
really
turned into
busy.
He knew he turned into Vader because he and Yoda watched the footage of
Right.
Palpatine turning Anakin into.
Oh,
Lord.
but you
he
mean
said, "Lord,
suit
rise,
and all.
Lord Vader."
Okay.
Yeah,
and so
the name he
You're
knows,
right. Yeah.
but not
And
the
so-
incarnation.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but he knew that it was Darth Vader, right? That Anakin turned into Darth Vader. So
But he's not
10
watching the
years,
news, yeah.
no, but 10 years later, after the space Nazi Empire has taken over the entire galaxy,
Yeah.
ruled by the Emperor and Darth Vader, he
And the
didn't know.
SSS. Yeah.
I mean, if he's hiding that hard, it's possible.
But no, he can hide, but he can't hide from people around him. He's going to town,
Yeah.
despite the fact that they show him never ever talking to any of his coworkers, which is a bit weird. People, it's like they're right next to Mos Eisley Spaceport and all these other spaceports and these settlements. People talk. This is a planet where people go to hide. They may be going to hide from the Empire.
Yeah,
People,
the meat market water cooler of hey,
you
man,
cannot
hear
live
about
in you can't live in Germany in 1942, even on like the outer, like out in the country land, without knowing, hey, what are these weird guys in brown shirts marching around? Who do you think their leader is? No, it
Plus,
doesn't happen.
he's a good-looking guy. He's not going to have any coworkers hitting on him. Come on.
Well,
Yeah,
you would
I'd
have
love
to
to see
think
that.
Darth Vader's
wow.
basically like Goebbels to the Emperor, who's Hitler. So you would think like Obi-Wan would know who, like, the Emperor's Goebbels is.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of nods to the original trilogy, the prequel. I mean, there's nods to all the trilogies, really. I mean, we have Kenobi totally solitary on his own, which was how we met Rey. She's looking to the future. He's looking back on the past with regret. Kind of interesting. I'm kind of with you, Ian. I mean, I know that it's been 10 years, but have you been having these nightmares this whole time? And honestly, if you're that disconnected from the Force, maybe you do lose some of your memory. I don't know.
Well, but here's the thing:
insane.
the entire point of Obi-Wan being sent to Tatooine was to watch over and protect Luke.
Yeah.
You cannot protect Luke Skywalker if you're disconnected from the Force. On top of that, Yoda at the end of Episode 3, which we see in the opening montage of 1 through 3, Yoda's like, "I'm going to teach you how to communicate with your old teacher, Qui-Gon." Now,
That
if
hasn't
he's
happened
having
yet,
trouble
clearly.
if he's having trouble with that over 10 years, let's explore why that is. Is it
There's pills
trauma
for
from
that.
the Force? Is he? I'm kind of with you, David. I want to see the 10 years like leading up to this
He's got
point, because there's a
performance
whole
issues.
lot of unanswered questions. It's sort of the problem with the prequel trilogy. We glossed over way too much time
That's true.
and lost way too many character details to just kind of move the story along to the point like, oh, look, he's in the suit. We're never gonna have to worry about this stuff again. Yikes.
Yeah. So
That's a fair point.
Look, as far as the Inquisitors, okay, kind of interesting. I'm like somebody else alluded, I'm sure. Reva, is her name Reva?
Reva.
Yes.
Reva. Yeah, it sounds like a country singer.
Indeed, it does.
Someone's gonna make that album, the Reva McEntire Greatest Hits.
but
There we go.
Reva, it's like clearly she used to be a Jedi. I mean, some of these are so on the nose, it feels,
Well, like with like the Order 66 scene at the Jedi Temple, I feel like Benny Safdie has to be one of those younglings that got away.
well,
And
yeah.
also
They
there's
build that
speculation
bridge.
that one of the girls who's talking, I watched it earlier this morning, but apparently there's a girl who's talking among that youngling order that they're saying that is Reva as a child.
Yeah, because she was a person of color, So
yeah.
Well, they said right out that, and then it was one of the head scratching moments of Obi-Wan not knowing Anakin was alive and Darth Vader, but he knew the Inquisitors as well as their origins, where he says they were former Jedi, which
some of those
is
are former
implying
Jedi.
which is implying that the younglings that we saw, some of those became Inquisitors. They were Jedi that turned to the dark side to survive, and now they're hunting other Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm torn because I'm like you. I love seeing Ewan McGregor in this role. I wish he was in a different story.
Yeah. Well,
he's playing the hell out of this character, and I get what he's going for, but he's in a different show then the rest of the Power Rangers special effect going on, jumpy around type of things going on. And I get they're trying to lean towards family, and we're only 2 episodes in. I thought it was interesting the first episode and them exploring what happened to Obi-Wan and him lying low. I didn't expect him having performance issues with the Force, because
at a certain age.
Well, yeah, you get a certain age, you need.
He's been having those death sticks, David.
Take some Sith Alice or something.
Rename the show.
But if
Vader Agra,
there's the show name.
Vader Agra, yeah, exactly. But if your Force lasts more than 8 hours, call your doctor. But no.
That's so good.
So part of me is really loving Obi-Wan and seeing this character again and see him portray and put all into it. And I love Ewan in this role, and it really pulls at that. At the same time, my son mentioned, well, the poor guy has had to live had to relive the prequels for 10 years. So yeah, you'd be waking up in sweats too every night.
I have a feeling that I'm just gonna look over a lot of things just because there's so many subtleties and nuances of his performance and little moments. Like I love when he confronts Kumail Nanjiani, who's basically Yoda. What did he say? You're a low level bottom feeder. You're a bottom feeder. I love it.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of interaction, and the fact that I feel even though he went into the sand and got Anakin and his own lightsaber, I have a feeling that I like the fact that here's 2 episodes and he's only using a gun, he's only using a blaster, and he's not using the lightsaber yet. I really like that because it's just like I know what this did. This is what destroyed Anakin. This is what I used to be this character. I'm not him anymore. Yeah. So I like that he could kind of get back into that. It's all about this trauma.
Yeah,
I think.
I feel like I do this every show with you guys, especially when we're always so early. I'm just super patient for what's going to come next. Like I wasn't expecting every question to get answered in 2 episodes, and I don't mind some holes and some thoughts and some question marks and the slow play. So I'm here. I'm in. They've done enough.
I'm fine with the slow play. The unfortunate thing is we've had at least 2 series now about a redemption arc or someone coming back from the bottom to the top again, done not as well in one and done fairly well in the other. Well, you know what I'm saying? And that's the only problem, is that I felt like they were hitting many similar beats we've covered in the other shows. And they've covered in the other shows, and I was a little disappointed in that. I know what it feels like they're doing with this character. I can't wait to see him come back to his own Obi-Wan self, which is what we're all going to be waiting for. And it looks like we're going to have a better journey than Book of Boba Fett. But at the same time, we've had this story about a character coming from hitting rock bottom and trying to come back and redeem themselves in some way, shape, or form, almost beat for beat with this. And that's, for me, that I felt a little disappointed because I was hoping maybe something a little bit different. There were some surprises. I like the juxtaposition. Yeah, I used a big word, and that just hurt. Between seeing the life of Leia and seeing the life of Luke, what little we had.
That one scene versus the entire episode. Well, that's the content we saw.
I'm hoping to see more. Like I'm with Don. I'm waiting to see what they happen. I'm hoping they do more because there's actually a lot of meat you could do there rather than doing this whole Inquisitor thing chasing Obi-Wan. Even though it's about Obi-Wan, it's easily could be him jumping between the 2 planets, and we see the life of Luke, which is hardship in the sand, and oh my God, I got chafing in places I don't want. To where Princess Leia is living a life of privilege. And she's trying to rebel every chance she gets against that, and there's an interesting story there as well that you could see through the eyes of Obi-Wan, who's trying to now keep eyes on both kids that way.
Mark, we're a third of the way through this season.
Wait, there's only 6 episodes?
Yeah,
only
sorry,
6.
I was laughing at the comments.
Well, we'll get to those in just in a second. But
Mark,
I
know what.
Oh, here they come.
Yeah.
But Mark, it's much worse than it's not just a couple of shows. I was thinking about this earlier today. We've had Loki, Hawkeye, the Book of Boba Fett, what appears to be Thor: Love and Thunder, and now Obi-Wan. You've got a formerly aspirational, bold male character like a superhero or a hero who over the course of 10 years has been brought low to doubt themselves and, as you say, hit rock bottom. And along comes a spunky young female companion / version of themselves who kind of takes over the show. And the guy just ends up kind of like mopey and wandering around, kind of like a doofus trailing behind them until at the end they're like, well, you know what? I'm gonna pass the torch on to this the future is female, new character.
Oh boy.
It's just a pattern. And I'm sorry, but I'm noticing these things in all the Marvel / Disney Star Wars properties. And the problem is I don't have a problem. It's like David always says, I don't care as long as the story's good, but the stories just don't tend to be good anymore. And they're so predictable because they all follow this same pattern. So when you're talking about hope, I'm like, I don't have any hope. I'm hoping.
Well, there's a new hope around the corner.
No. All right. So let's talk briefly. We'll pull over and talk about some of these comments. Because as I mentioned, it's a shorter show. We are going to be talking about Top Gun here at 9:30 Central or thereabouts. So Jeremy's back. He said, I thought the opening scene was really intense as well with the younglings, but definitely made me sad as well for the same reasons y'all discussed. Yes.
It hit good. It hit good.
I didn't. It's weird. I didn't bring up it as a joke. I'm not trying to make light of what happened. I'm just saying that it was, and there's no way that people making the show could have known that they would have aired their debut episode in a week. Something like this happened. It's just, I wanted to bring it up because it's something kind of cosmically weird about the timing of the whole thing.
It's definitely purposeful because we're going to find out who some of those younglings are. It's obvious.
And I think it's going to tie into Anakin's morality and where Obi-Wan has to come to terms that he's not savable because by the time Empire comes around, he's telling Luke that
he's more machine mouth, man.
Yeah, he's more machine
twisted and
evil.
We're not going to tell you he's really your dad because we have Jedis have a certain way of speaking or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, sure. You just didn't want to tell me he was my dad, so then I kill him and I don't feel really, really bad about it.
What?
Yeah,
I think we're gonna see more roots of the lie that gets perpetuated too. Because
I want to.
Every turn, Luke never. Obi-Wan never says Luke, Leia's sisters, parentage, all that. Like we're gonna see the roots of that some more too.
I want to see that little girl do the whole what? The whole thing that Leia does.
The little girl was a pretty good cast in my opinion, I was a little worried about it because whenever you have kids in any show or movie, you run the risk of them just being annoying. You could get like I don't want to lambast again, but like a Jake Lloyd situation.
Ah, gee, come on, give me a break.
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah,
but it's sort of like the closest example I can think of. And
he's not Henry Thomas, I'll tell you that.
I think she does well in this role. I know some people don't care for her in that. I think for a young actress like her to get a role to play the young version of probably one of the most iconic characters, not just in Star Wars, but in cinema in general, you're supposed to portray the young one. And she's doing it with confidence, and you can tell she's putting her all into it. And I give her mad props for it because she is of that age of 10 years. I mean, she's holding her own with some veteran stars fairly well with it. You can tell they're handling it well as well. They're scaling it back just a little with her so they don't, but I know she's a little annoying because kid characters, but as far as kid characters go, I think she's doing very well. Yeah, I really do.
I'm cool with it having a tough cookie. That's
here's the thing. She's essentially written about as well as the Olsen twins were back on Full House. She knows everything. She's got a witty retort for everything.
Yep. You got it, dude.
She's telling the adults, like Obi-Wan says, "How old are you?" He knows how old she is.
I know.
He was there when it happened.
It was rhetorical.
I know, but it's this BS sitcom thing.
Yeah.
Making it for
I'm sorry,
families.
nobody talks like this. I know this is television, but
Yeah.
if they wanted to make her a character, give her room to grow. If she really didn't want to, she's almost got the sort of adult, I'll call it a Hillary Clinton vibe, where she's like a born politician, even though she says she doesn't want to have anything to do with politics.
That's what all the politicians say.
No, but give me that kid. I want to see a Princess Leia who is reluctantly drawn into politics because she thinks it's going to save her family, or maybe it gives her a position of strength with which to run the rebellion, something like that.
Sure.
But this kid is like, she's like a cartoon kid from the 90s. Like, there's no vulnerability, there's no character there, and I don't really see an arc yet. I know we're only 2 episodes in, but I don't see how she becomes Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, we could find out.
Sorry, go ahead.
We could find out that something happens that makes her want to be, but it's still, she's only 10 years old. And I'm sorry, but a 10-year-old's not going to have aspirations to become a politician. And
she's going to boss cousins and mean people around, and that's enough. That's the seed.
Right, but she's like giving all these weird insights to Obi-Wan Kenobi, like,
because
you're unsure of yourself, and that's why you do this and this and this. Like,
it's what Petty said, and it's exactly what I think is implied
we'll get
here.
to that in a second.
But we don't get the force noise. We don't get the. But in fact, she is reading people because she's got inklings of the force already. That I picked up immediately with the way she directed it, but we just don't have the. So you don't know the Jedi mind reading sound. You know what sound effect I'm talking about.
I know, but the big problem is, Mark,
dehumidifier here in the basement makes the same sound. Totally.
But Mark, we're also talking about the person who's going to grow up to become the Princess Leia from the movies that we grew up watching, who didn't even know that she was special or gifted with the Force. She
may never have known that she was actually using the Force, even our Leia, and she could have been.
Exactly.
Could be.
Until Luke showed
right. But when I'm watching Star Wars episodes 4 and 5 until the very end, when she gets the sense that she's picking up on Luke, this is back when the audience is like, whoa, what's going on? Right. But we're getting this. Imagine again, someone coming up now watching Star Wars. I'm going to start at the very beginning and they watch this show. Then they're going to be wondering in episodes 4 and 5, like, wait a second, where's Leia's force powers? Where does her insight go?
Let's see where she goes.
Honestly, these 2 episodes made me realize that I'm really afraid that these are just 6 episodes.
As usual, patience.
No,
no other season.
No filler here.
Yeah. I'm running out of patience because
I'm not Dr. Jim.
Sabbatical number 2. Ian, I love you. I miss you already.
Listen, I'm trying to say this. Star Wars is a big legacy. It's something that people have cared about for decades and are going to hopefully care about for decades more. There's a big responsibility to tell powerful, well-told stories, created by people who love this stuff and know it. And I'm not getting that sense at all from these first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I can't go there. I think Deborah Chow and the writing team loves what they love and is putting care into it.
I think they love what they love. I think they want to be writing other original sci-fi shows. They can't get work doing it, so they're glommed onto the Star Wars brand. Because this stuff may very well be. This stuff is not smart. You look at there.
I can't judge it at 2 episodes.
I can. But based exclusively on the stuff that we've talked about, these holes, not knowing who Darth Vader is, the whole thing, like with Reva later in that alley in episode 2, Obi-Wan and Leia have just fought their way off of the back into the alley from that rooftop. The camera pulls back. They decide to make a run for that shipyard. The camera pulls back, and Reva is in the shadows watching them. Now, because we see the profile of the side of her head, she had been chasing them like Black Panthering and parkouring her way across rooftops to get them and yelling. And then like 2 minutes later, when she's in the shipyard, she bursts in and everything. The one time she doesn't attack them is when she's standing right there and has the element of surprise. What? Let's get back to the comments. Let's get back to the comments. All right.
I didn't remember seeing her though.
I rewound it because I'm like, no. And yep, there she is. I think the girl playing Leia is great. They're just laying it on a little bit thick in episode 2. Fair enough. Please, no more grown men and Jedi chasing a 10-year-old Benny Hill shit. Right there. Yeah, we're only missing a slide whistle. Really enjoyed episode 1, though episode 2 I thought was a little too cartoony and Boba Fetty. All right,
Boba Fetty
right there.
I usually like some Parmesan with my Boba Fetty.
Hey,
That should be the Pizza Hut calzone.
Boba Fett is a little
oregano sprinkled on top.
Oh yeah.
You gotta twirl it with your fork, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Some of that Corellian spice, yeah.
Now you're talking.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Hello there.
Petty.
Hello there.
With shows like this, the Star Wars franchise will soon be included in Ian's sabbatical along with DC and Marvel. Leia's character as a child is insufferable. Now, here's the thing. 2 points, Petty. One, I think the actress is fine. Yes. I think the actress is fine. I think it's the writing and the direction.
Fair.
Correction number 2. Star Wars is not in danger of becoming part of my sabbatical. The sabbatical implies that I will go back to it. I'm looking at Andor. I'm looking at where this new bullshit Jude Law is supposed to be. And I'm like, I'm out. They're filling in all the holes. I'm pretty much of the opinion that I only need episodes 4, 5, 6, and possibly 7, and I'm good for the rest of my days.
Wait, not 8?
8, yeah, 8 can go in there.
Okay.
Yeah. 4,
Not
5,
3?
6, 7, and 8. No.
Sorry.
3. I can't stand
It still
3.
has some good
By
moments.
the time you go that far, take all 9.
No, 3 is a fun movie,
good.
but it's terrible Star Wars because they try and shove about 6 movies worth of content into one because they screwed up the first 2 so badly.
You think about it. How many seasons of Clone Wars did they have between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith?
Right.
I mean, come on now.
Like, how many episodes of the Clone Wars is just people shooting lasers at each other, and that's like literally the whole episode? Like, oh, Obi-Wan got captured.
My kids are watching it now. They're 9 and 7, and they love it. Like they're hooked on Clone Wars, which I love.
I mean, that would be any kid's jam. Just it's so much visual stimulation.
I haven't watched Rebellion, and I haven't watched
Rebels?
the Rebels, and the other one. I haven't watched those other animated shows. Clone Wars, I really enjoy the story. I especially enjoyed the fact the season later on where they closed it out with Ahsoka, with leading into I really liked the last season that they did. It really made up for a couple of those other seasons where I was just like, what are you doing? But that's all I needed. The other shows I've heard about, and we're bringing in characters in this show from there. For me, the biggest cameo that I enjoyed was Zuckuss. Zuckuss is the bounty hunter guy from you see in Empire. Yeah, the bug robot.
That's right.
I have to say the reptilian dude. I'm like, come on, that's always lame. Come on.
My kid said, "Oh, look, they got someone from Donkey Kong Country in here."
I know it's like weak sauce Killer Croc.
Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed, there are a few aliens in these first 2 episodes, but not nearly enough.
Yeah.
And when I say aliens, I'm talking about not just people like doing the kind of like comic book convention thing where like if you go in the corner and pay $10, someone like paint a few lines on your face and ooh, I'm from another planet.
You
I'm
mean
talking
like
about
Star Trek, the nose piece aliens,
right? I mean, if you look at
the Kardashians, come on now.
Well, hey, Mark and I have talked about the Kardashians.
Oh wow.
The other ones.
No, I was talking about the keeping up with the Kardashians.
Yeah,
Kardashians. That's a great name for a show no one's done. Yeah.
Well, but my point is, if you look at episode 4, and that's the other kind of problem with this, I don't know how the hell any of this lines up with what's the original Star Wars yet. Let's start with the fact that all of a sudden we've got like a multicultural evil galactic empire. Like, what happens in that next 10 years? I'm kind of afraid to find out.
They destroy them all, and they hire all Brits.
They've got Order 67.
Oh no!
I want to wait for Order 69.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Clearly, that's where we're going.
But like if you look at the cantina scene, like there's one guy who's just like a dude in a space, like an astronaut suit, and everyone else has these elaborate, costumes. And some were just like stolen Wolfman costumes from somewhere else in the Fox set, but they at least tried. I got the feeling I was watching like the settlement, like 2 towns over on Arrakis, rather than anything happening on Tatooine.
Well, that was my complaint when I went to the Cantina Galaxy's Edge in Orlando. There wasn't enough aliens. So what are you gonna do?
Was the blue milk bad or good? Or because like every time I see a video of someone drinking it, that like there's this one girl has to drink it and make it look good, and like you can literally see her face like and like you can hear her swallow it.
The
too.
blue milk's better than the green. It's kind of coconutty, pineapple-y. It's not bad.
Ew.
What's the green?
That's gross.
I can't tell. I can't remember. It wasn't that good.
You threw it up. That's why.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Yeah.
So agree with Ian. Thank you, that guy.
Is that
Um,
a T-shirt now?
It's that guy.
That
I
guy,
agree with Ian.
that contrarian guy.
That's Ian's. That's Ian's son.
No, it's not the
Maybe.
Reva show. No,
let's
it's not.
This is
And
the Reva
that
show.
was my main concern going into it.
No,
was that, oh, this is
if the
gonna be about
rumors are
Reva.
true, if the rumors are true, though, which it looks like they are panning out based on what happened with episodes 1 and 2, this very much will be the Reva show by episode 6.
If it is, then I'm
okay.
out. I'm done.
Well, by then it'll be over, so it's too late.
Was she in any of the cartoons?
No.
She's new.
He-
No,
Grand
she's just a
Inquisitor was
cartoon
though,
in the
right?
show.
Okay, Grand Inquisitor was. He was
Okay.
in Rebels, I
Yeah.
believe.
Which, why didn't they make him look more like that guy in episode 3 when Kenobi goes to the planet that he kills Grievous at? Spoilers. Where like he was like real thin and had like
Yeah, Bruce
vampire
Villar,
baby
right? Yeah.
teeth. and-
Bruce
Yeah.
Spence
Bruce Spence
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Legend of the Seeker. Yeah.
and
Right.
Mad
Yeah.
Max Road Warrior.
Yeah, because instead the Grand Inquisitor looks like Squidward from SpongeBob in this. You know,
Well,
like the Grand
he's not
Inquisitor
around
looks
long
like
enough.
he
So,
went the
you know.
Portillo's
Yeah.
too much.
He's not
I
around.
assume it's a puberty thing where it just
Yeah.
it's not old enough to get the big old dome. Yeah.
Your ridges
I
are coming in
mean-
nicely.
Well,
and
and
he's
also a plot hole. Like Reva kills the Grand Inquisitor in episode 2, but he's alive in Rebels and gets killed in that, which takes place after this show.
does it?
Well,
Mhm.
maybe he's not dead. Maybe it's
Oh,
just
boy.
a flesh wound. He's hanging out like Pee Wee Herman at the end of Buffy the
Yeah.
Vampire Slayer.
In Disney,
But-
you're never dead. If the fans like you, they'll bring
This
you
is
back.
true.
Even if they chop you in half and throw you down a tunnel, they'll add some spider legs and you're good to go.
Spider
All right, that guy has this question's a layup. That guy. What was the point of Reva
Action
jumping all around the
sequence.
buildings? Action sequence, yes. Yeah, it's. I guess it quote unquote looked cool, but I just got problems with that whole sequence. Hopefully not, because Reva is arguably the worst part of the show. So reacted. I agree. And then also Reva's cuts that woman's hand, but doesn't
I
kill the
love
guy
that.
pretending to be a Jedi. How does that make sense? It doesn't. But here's another Reva plot hole that is a gaping problem for me. In that scene in the alley with Kumail Nanjiani's character, who
Yeah.
has we see him in the first 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and we establish he's a criminal and he's kind of in it for himself, and then he shows up at the very end with this weird speech saying, "Hey, I've got a change of heart. You're my hero, Obi-Wan Kenobi." I'm like, okay, there's like 7 scenes that didn't make it, out of the cutting room.
Oh boy.
But she throws him up against the wall and mind melds him to find out where Obi-Wan Kenobi's going. In episode 1, the Inquisitors are walking through the streets on Tatooine, say, "We're going to find the Jedi. We know he's here." And then Owen Lars just happens to be there. And she's like, you're not a Jedi, but you know where one is. And instead of like looking into his brain to see, I was just talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's hiding right over there. On top of that, let's just fast forward to the fact that these Jedi and Sith and ostensibly Inquisitors, because they were former Jedi, can sense each other. There's one point where like Obi-Wan is like right across the train tracks or something from 3 other Inquisitors. They have no idea where he is. But let's get back to this other thing. Why didn't she use that mind meld power to just look inside and say, okay, Obi-Wan's here, or your family, there's something really special about that son of yours. Maybe it's because he's force sensitive and he's
boy.
the son of Darth Vader.
I mean,
What?
this is nitpicky stuff. Nitpicky
It's not
answers go-
nitpicky stuff.
No,
it's
but-
stuff that people who care about Star Wars writing
Yeah,
this
but
show
you
would
could-
know
you-
that other people who care about Star Wars are
but-
going to pick up on.
But you could do a nitpicky answer in return. One, if
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is as turned off to the Force as he is, maybe he doesn't give off that vibe until he floats a girl and turns it back on. And those pills we talked about
But
before.
that has not
And
been
then-
established yet.
I'm helping you with your nitpicks. The other thing would be with Owen would be like, to me, she's doing that for the crowd, not for Owen. She's doing that to scare the public and make an example, not solve the case.
But
Yeah.
if she
That
was
moment.
really obsessed Like maybe
don't know.
establish that she didn't care about him or she wasn't trying the trick, because at that point it's just wasted tension.
But
I mean,
his response threw her off at first.
Like,
so
did a good job.
It's weird. I thought she was supposed to be good at her job because she's a high-ranking order of like Darth Vader's coterie.
He spun it off
She's
enough.
the third sister, not the first.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And
she was the only sister in that.
He's trying to become the first. Like that's her motivation.
Yeah. Owen's smart enough with the Force and may even have a little bit of training or whatnot, whatever. But he was enough to give not Force training, but he gave off enough vibes. The impression I get, the way he delivers the lines and everything, to where he knew she was going to try to really sense if she was scaring him, and so he didn't show any fear at all, which threw her off from the scent of suspicion. So she instead turned him into being a manipulation tool to everyone else, figuring someone's going to be caring. Plus, they set up early that they think the Jedi care too much and that they have to come out regardless, no matter what. It's like a gambler's curse. They have to come out and help people that are being a threat.
Yeah.
So she's threatening them because that she's going to that Jedi vice, and Obi-Wan's just like, actually, he's going to burn in like 10 years again. So you know what? I don't care. That's fine. He'll be crispy.
Well, okay, Mark, I would accept what you're saying if there was any indication in the performance or the writing to suggest any of what you just said. It doesn't matter if she knew that Obi-Wan. No,
I got brains.
No, listen.
Come on.
No, listen.
As much as your brain is making nitpicks, the rest of us can make answers.
No, what I'm saying.
I mean,
if
I want to nitpick Star Wars,
speak for yourself.
There were so many problems, even in the original.
Yes, but that's welcome.
How did Darth Vader never get that Luke Skywalker was his son? Oh wait, he did eventually.
Yeah. I mean,
it took him a while. How did he never sense that Leia was his daughter?
Par for the course, fellas.
Especially when she's an older and across from the straight from him.
Well,
dark side clouds your mind.
Well, but here's the thing. We've had 40 years of people who've been writing this stuff. Just because something was bad in the past does not give people license to make it bad presently. The way you deal with plot holes is not by saying, they were plot holes. It's by writing stuff better. And maybe even finding a way to answer those questions cleverly. And this show doesn't have it so far.
Yeah, I don't expect that from Star Wars, and unfortunately.
But what is that? Why are we even talking about this show then if you don't expect anything from it?
I do expect stuff, and so far what I'm getting, it's like with Star Wars, I decided to set my expectations low because, it doesn't have the best track record, right? So, guarantee it doesn't. I mean, aside from the Clone Wars and all that, a lot of the movies are very uneven in terms of quality. But with this one, I like the fact that it's actually taking its time with this character, even if it's a little convoluted and all that. But again, if it does turn into the Revan show, then after that show all the way.
So raise your hand if you think Liam Neeson's going to do a cameo.
Oh, of course he is. He's going to come at the end, and he's going to give like Obi-Wan some sort of like solace or comfort, and it's similar to like when Obi-Wan told Luke in Empire Strikes Back, if you go to save your friends, you're going to have to do it alone. I think it's sort of the same mindset that Qui-Gon has, where it's like, you have to be ready to talk to me.
Listen to me very carefully.
Because, Jedis are kind of dicks. That's why they all
have a certain set of skills.
And he's going to say,
he is living out a Liam Neeson movie right now with this whole, Leia adventure.
You're now connected to the living force. Please sign here.
Yeah. All right, so let's close. Okay, David. Let's have your comment. I want to get these last two comments, and then kind of close things out until next week because we're up against the clock. But so David, you're going to say? I
didn't mind the whole babysitter Kenobi. There were some funny moments. The whole exasperated thing. And this is a nitpick that I've had even before the show started. Is that like? Yeah, I know she's 10, but she's been around adults. Why does she think he's like an old man? Because it's like, I know, Ewan McGregor's my age, and he's not showing any gray hair in his face. I mean, where does he go to get colored on Tatooine? I don't know.
The sun.
He makes up his own dye.
Both of them.
When I grow a beard, I'm mostly white now, so I'm like, come on, man. And it's
he eats a lot of red meat.
How many years away from New Hope are we supposed to be? 20.
We're
how old
eight.
is Luke in A New
We're
Hope? Does he
eight.
have an
Eight, right?
official age? in
Well,
it?
considering Luke is what here 10,
10.
so we're
Eight.
probably
So we're
about.
looking at
Do you
or
think he was
9.
18 in A New Hope?
It's
Yeah.
Really?
it's not really established. I mean, Carrie Fisher was 19 when she was in
Yeah.
the movie, so
Yeah.
like yeah,
I
so
believe
like
it was
9 years, yeah.
implied
So
somewhere.
He's
it
going
was
to
in
age
some
hard
supplemental
in
stuff, but
8
he was
years, is
18.
all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
He's going to age
All I
hard.
can think of,
Yeah.
all I can think of, David, is at some point in this, like at the end of this series, or this season, he's going to get into like a force fight with one of the Inquisitors, and kind of like what happened with
they're gonna
Palpatine,
age
he's
him.
going to strike by lightning and turn into
Yeah.
Alec Gillis, like a CGI Alec Gillis.
That
It'll
would
be like Legends of the Fall. He'll have a stroke like Anthony Hopkins and then just
It'll
talk
be like
funny
this
and
whole
get all
deep-
white. Yeah.
it'd
Good
be
call.
deep fake Kenobi.
In which
Deep
case,
fake
that
Kenobi.
will completely save Star Wars for me. I will take back every negative thing I ever
Oh
said.
my
Oh,
god.
All right, so
it's on tape. Hold on.
let's see. Yes, she didn't mind Reed Owen.
Didn't
That
have
guy
to.
also said, also when they capture and kill the Jedi in the first episode, didn't they read his mind to find other Jedi? Unclear, but
Fair question.
okay. Here, how cool would this
That was
have
off
been?
screen too.
Well,
Correct.
how cool would this have been? You know, Obi-Wan turns his back on this other Jedi and essentially
Safety.
signs his death warrant. Instead of that, especially because you've got, this actor in this role for this like bit part. It's kind of like when Daniel Craig showed up as a stormtrooper in Force Awakens, and no one knew until like you read the credits. Maybe when Obi-Wan decides, hey, I'm going to go on the rescue mission, I'm going to go get some help from another Jedi and dig up this guy and maybe take him along with him, and they can work with each other to get through the trauma of the last 10 years. Something like that, instead of like, oh yeah, okay, he's dead now. Let's see.
I don't know.
At times, it didn't feel like Star Wars show, more like a Cyberpunk or Blade Runner world show.
the
And I
neon,
think it's
that's
because
okay.
the responsible
That's
don't
okay.
love the franchise.
No?
Something
Yeah.
new, not
That's
Tatooine.
okay.
I'll take it.
Hey,
If
in
you
two-
know a bit
hey,
about
hey, in 2 episodes, we're not stuck on Tatooine. That's kind of cool.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
despite the title saying Obi-Wan and it goes away with sand towards the end.
Yeah.
well, maybe, but when I'm watching this, I'm getting those kind of the Coruscant vibes from episode 2, and that's fine. It's not Tatooine, you guys are right, but I'm not watching this saying, wow, I really, I'm interested in this world. Unlike the establishing worlds of Mando, where we're on Tatooine, but we're seeing aspects of it that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like wanting more of that from this
Yeah.
show, but again, we're on freaking Tatooine. Or there are there or out there those who don't want
Or
are the old fans. I can't. I can't. Let's see. Or out there those
I don't
who
know
don't
what that
want
is.
Do or
are the
do
old
not.
fans.
Sorry, Penny.
Yes,
Someone
sorry,
needs
Petty.
to
I don't get that one. Let's see. But
been a rough-
I do agree. It's
been a
it's
rough
got a weird
week.
kind of a
Yeah,
yeah.
it's Friday for Petty here. This ain't Wednesday. Like, we'd have a good Penny on Wednesday.
That's wow. We got the great Petty all the time. But let me ask:
We do.
is this going to be a Friday show, guys?
I hope
Was this
not,
just for this
man.
week?
This is
Okay.
a tough night.
Yeah, I don't know. So
I'm there, but
I wish it was Wednesday because, like, geez.
I wish it were Wednesday. So
Yeah.
I need more work days in my week. No. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. We will be back. Okay. Jeremy closing out with the
That's
winning
awesome.
comment. No more spice,
good,
Petty.
yeah.
I love it. Okay, we'll be
Nice.
back next week at some point. I don't know, whatever day this airs. We're gonna try and get it together to have another Obi-Watch live. We appreciate everybody showing up. I appreciate all of you guys, despite us butting heads because I'm the nitpicker in chief here. But yeah, we'll see where this series goes. We've got 4 more episodes left, so we're going to be together for the next month, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. But for right now, let's see.
Oh,
I'm gonna stop yelling, first of all.
Rip Flea. Rest in peace, Flea.
Yes.
did he? Oh,
I
that's
was
right, he died?
hoping. No, well, he was in this show.
He was
That
in
his
the show,
performance
yeah.
was death. But yeah, I was trying to not mention the fact that Flea was in this episode, but
Oh,
But it is a
I was-
Friday show, guys.
okay. Well,
here we
we'll
are.
make it work. All
big
right.
night.
Fish
Yeah,
fry.
hey, as long as we can hold hands.
Fish fry.
But all right, everybody, thank you very much for joining us for Obi-Watch Live, the debut episode. Certainly not the
Thanks,
last.
guys.
Goodbye
but,
there.
Group hug.
Yeah, we will see everybody next week, probably the same time. But if you want to hang out with us some more, there's a link, as I mentioned, down below in the description to our Top Gun Maverick discussion. Not all of us will be on here for that, but some of us will. So I'm going to let everybody go. That's going to
I
be
might
about
be for a little
5
bit.
minutes or so. All right, well, hang out if you can, David. We'd
All
love to
right.
have you. But yes, we will see everybody soon. Thank you very much. Excelsior and good night.
Goodbye.